and welcome back to another solo episode of Legacy Her Way. I'm Tanya Hendrix. I'm the host of Legacy Her Way, and this is a podcast where we explore how women are creating powerful personal legacies through family, faith, business, community, and beyond. This episode is sponsored by Huntsville Estate Planning Lawyer, where we empower your vision and secure your future through estate planning and trademarks. So this is probably going to be a short episode. I don't want to spend too much time talking about this, but I do want to bring something to light. In Legacy Her Way, we've interviewed quite a few women. You've only heard, as the time when this one airs, you've only heard just a small portion of the women that have been interviewed for this podcast. And many of the women have talked about being in a career and pivoting and starting something else. They had a passion for something, or they saw a need for something, and they decided to go down a path that would fill that need, that would start a new business, start a new job. A lot of the people I have interviewed have been builders, founders of new businesses. And I did that. So I have been a law firm owner. This is my second law firm. It was funny, when I shut down my law firm in 2013, I swore I would never have another law firm again. I didn't want to ever own my own business again. I want to just keep working for people for the rest of my life. But things changed. And so as a small business owner, as a law firm owner, I'm a small business owner. And it has been exciting. I've enjoyed this ride as a business owner. It's exhausting as all get out. There's just so much to do. Everything is on me to get things done. And so I don't want to say it's not a great opportunity, but sometimes it's not for everybody. One of the things I have noticed and observed as an estate planning lawyer, and even before I did estate planning and was working with doing divorces, I saw a lot of people's financials. A lot of people going through a divorce, we have to figure out their financials. Does the client have to pay, or does the client receive alimony? What's going to be the child support amount? So I've reviewed a lot of financial information for people. And as an estate planning lawyer, of course, I'm reviewing financial information and knowing what people have in their retirement accounts and in their bank accounts. And what I have seen time and again is the majority of people who have the most money, whether it's, at retirement age, or maybe a little bit older, they've been going through a divorce after they've been married for 10, 15, 20 years. The ones who had the most money, by and large, not all of them, but most of them, have stuck with one job their entire career. Or they were in the military, an officer in the military, and retired. They put in their 20-something years in the military and retired from the military, and they're on their second career now. Those are the ones who I have seen, in my experience, who have the most money. I have seen a few here and there who invented something, started a business, who have done really well for themselves. But by and large, it's the ones who stuck with something. They were in one field, one industry, and stuck with it. Didn't jump from this place to that place to that place to that place, but stuck with it. And if I have to admit, one of the things I regret in my career is jumping around, because I went from being a prosecutor and went into private practice. That was one of the first jumps I made that I regret. I do regret leaving prosecution. I should have stuck with it through retirement, and then I'd be in a much better position for retirement purposes. So there is something to be said for just sticking with it and not giving up and not pivoting. And sometimes maybe pivoting is really just our new fancy way of saying quitting. Have you thought about it that way? I didn't. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and somebody said that. I was like, oh, that's kind of harsh, but it may also be true for some people, that maybe we can call it pivoting, but we're just quitting. Maybe we're angry, we're upset, we're bored, we've reached a point where we can't figure something out. So like, I'm just going to do something else. I'm just going to pivot. and go somewhere else. So be sure if you are considering pivoting that you really are pivoting for the right reasons, that you really are pivoting, not just quitting. Because I'll tell you, the grass is not always green on the other side. You may think it will be great and wonderful to be my own boss. I can make up my own time. I can do this. I can do that. If you go back and listen to one of my, I think it was like the fifth episode, where I talk about the realities of being a business owner. And yes, it's great and wonderful. I said just a few minutes ago, I enjoy being a business owner, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of long hours. Everything falls on you. The buck stops with you. So even if you have an employee that messes something up, it's really you. If you pay the wrong people to do your marketing, it's on you. There's so many things that as a business owner, it's all you. I mean, you're having to deal with all the little things day to day, making decisions, making changes, making the money. I mean, if you're not working, you're not bringing in money. And so how are you going to have a business if you have no money? So there are a lot of great things about being your own boss, but there are a lot of struggles. There are a lot of downsides to it as well. And so before you pivot, before you jump out of your career that you have, think long and hard about the consequences of it. Think long and hard about maybe it's not the right time. Maybe you should stick with it. Is this just a temporary discomfort you have with your job? Is this a temporary frustration? Or is it something more? But I would encourage you to think through what can happen if you stick with it. Again, what I have observed is just my observations. I've not done any research to see if that's scientifically proven or statistically if that's correct. But I just know of the clients I have seen their financials for as a divorce lawyer and now as an estate planning lawyer, the ones who have had the most at the end were those who, and I say in, at retirement age, or, kind of getting to their, I'm almost 50. So a lot of people that I'm seeing that are my age, a little bit older, 40s, 50s, 60s, the ones who have the most are the ones who stuck with a career, stuck with one job or something very adjacent to that job. Like maybe they were a government employee and now they're a contractor. Still doing the same thing, but on the civilian side versus the government side. But the ones who stuck with it are the ones who have the most retirement, most money in the bank. Time and time again, I've seen that. And so I just thought I needed to mention that and have a podcast episode about that so that if you are considering pivoting, you count that into the equation. You consider, well, if I stick with this, I'm going to have a good retirement. That may be it. If we go back to the very first episode 2 where Dana Stone was our guest and she talked about defining success. What is your definition of success? What does success look like to you? If it's time freedom, being a business owner may not be the time freedom. It may be sticking with the job that you have. Sure, you may not be able to leave every single time that you want to. You may not be able to go run those errands in the middle of the day. You may not be able to go to this thing or that thing, but it may still give you more freedom to go to bed at a decent hour, get up at a decent hour, not have to work on the weekends. If that's your definition of success, you got to consider, if you're a business owner, your time is tied up in that business. Maybe your definition of success is huge retirement. You may not want to leave the job you have if you got a good retirement going. So there are things to really consider and think about before you decide to jump ship, before you decide to pivot, before you decide to open your own business, become an entrepreneur. So even as much as I celebrate that on this podcast, and I celebrate the women who are doing those things, I also want to celebrate the women who are sticking to it, sticking with the job, staying with the job because it's a steady income, staying with the job because it does provide stability. It provides a retirement, an assurance of retirement in the end, or something in the end. And so I do want to celebrate you who are just sticking with this. This podcast isn't just about women who are pivoting and women who are building their own businesses, becoming entrepreneurs. I want to celebrate you as well, who are just, you're grinding it out. You're sticking with it. Sometimes it sucks, but other times it's nice to have that stability. It's nice to have that assurance that there's going to be a check in my bank account every week or every 2 weeks, that I've got retirement coming out, that when I'm such a whatever age, I can retire and do what I want to do at that point. It may be that you've got some dreams and plans that you should just wait until you retire. That may, and I always, back even when I say that, I'm thinking, well, we're not always guaranteed retirement. We're not always guaranteed that we're going to live to that retirement age. But I think that's a gamble you take. You take a gamble and a risk if you open your own business. It's a huge gamble. A lot of businesses don't make it. A lot of businesses don't make it past 2 years or 5 years because it's hard. It's really hard. And it takes a toll on you personally, it takes a toll on your relationships, it takes a toll on your body. I mean, all kind of things. So I want to encourage you who are sticking with a job. And you're like, well, Tanya keeps talking to these amazing women who are doing some amazing things. And they left their corporate jobs. They left this field, this profession to do this other thing, and they're killing it. They are killing it, but they're putting a lot of hours, I can tell you. Because I see them all at these networking events. I see them out and about doing all the things that's required. I mean, it's a lot of things to market and network and not just doing the job, not just like I'm an attorney. I still have clients I have to help. And I love helping them. I don't want to say half, but I love helping them. I love doing the work. But I've also got to do all the other stuff that gets them in the door. And that's the same thing with these other women. And that may not be for you. Even if you are thinking about opening your own business, there's a huge cost to it. So maybe you decide, yeah, Tanya's talked to these amazing women, but I've got these great ideas. I'd like to do something. But really for me right now, my idea of success is ensuring I have a check in my bank account every 2 weeks, ensuring that I can pay my bills every month, and ensuring I've got retirement. And when I get to that retirement age, hopefully I'll still be alive. Hopefully I'll still be able to do things. At that point, that's when I'm going to do my passion work. That's when I do my passion projects, do the things to help people like I want to do. All right, that is it. That's just my encouragement and just me sharing my observations from being an attorney for 24 years and the last 10 years where I've seen people's financials and it's really impacted me. I'm like, whoa. So that's how you do it. That's how you just grind it out, stick with it, and you got the money in the end. All right. I hope you have a great day as you're listening to this. I will be back after you hear this. We're getting near the end of season 1. It's unbelievable that we're towards the end of season 1. Season 2, as I'm recording this, I'm also recording interviews for season 2. Isn't that exciting? Because this podcast is so important for women to be encouraged, for women to gain insight, and just be encouraged. Just be encouraged to keep living your legacy your way. Until next time, keep building boldly, loving deeply, and living your legacy her way. Bye.